Why did Michelangelo depict Moses as having horns? Why in the world did Moses, or was Moses, pictured by Michelangelo as having horns? Was Michelangelo crazy, or is there a good reason for it? I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. I hope that you're enjoying your Friday night. I hope that you're safe. I hope that you're warm. I hope that you are having a good time. I know that I am. I'm here to bring you some gospel truth. I spent 20 years as a full-time minister. I have over 100,000 hours of study in the biblical scriptures, Bible college degree, associate's degree in geography and anthropology, and a crystal ball. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, a crystal ball. Why in the world was Moses pictured by Michelangelo? And pictured isn't really the right word. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I don't know if you noticed the screen before you entered into the live chat, but let me show you what I'm talking about. Why was Moses pictured as having horns in the statue that Michelangelo did? This is Moses by Michelangelo. And we're talking about the horns of Moses. I'm the Christian Whistleblower, Jeffrey Daugherty. This is the Gospel Truth Program. Why did Moses have horns according to Michelangelo? Sorry for those of you on Twitter and on Facebook, you're not able to see that. Thank you for the hearts, but you can certainly go over to Jeff Daugherty Show or Christian Whistleblower on YouTube and be able to see the video, what am I trying to say? See the audio, the damn stuff I'm showing on the screen. You can go over there and see that and also partake in the chat. So why is Moses, this is kind of a creepy statue altogether, but look at those weird eyes. Look at those weird horns on Moses. And one of my great subscribers sent me a message and said, why did Michelangelo picture Moses with horns? And we're going to dive into that. And we're going to show you exactly why Moses was pictured as having horns. And I think the reason why is going to shock you, because the reason why Moses was depicted as having horns by Michelangelo is because Jerome, who translated the Latin Vulgate, accurately and literally translated the book of Genesis, chapter 34, which says that, gulp, Moses had horns. Now, this is really, really hot here. Oh, so Moses, according to the scriptures, oops. Sorry about that. My microphone wasn't even in front of my face. Sorry to all you YouTube folks. But Moses was said to have had horns. So let's look at this let's look at this scripture and let's see if we can't get to the bottom of what is just a really strange and I would even say bizarre passage of scripture. Now, let me set the scene for you. Moses had gone up on the mountain and he had received the 10 commandments from God, ostensibly from Yahweh, from Jehovah, from Marduk, from the rat bastard. He had received the 10 commandments and he was coming down the mountain. And it's interesting if you remember what the people were doing down at the bottom. They were down there worshiping a golden what? A golden calf or a golden bull that they had created, which is very, very interesting as we continue to look at this information. So Moses was up there. He met with Yahweh. And when Moses came down from Mount Sinai with the 2 tables of testimony, unless you believe the Monty Python version where he came down with 3 tablets, the 15 commandments, dropped one of the tablets the 10 commandments, unless you believe that version. He came down with the 10 commandments. And it says that when he came down from the mount, that Moses knew not that the skin of his face shone while he talked with them. And the children of Israel were saying, yo, man, the skin of your face is shining, and we're afraid of you. And, you know, I always thought that a little odd. If his face was shining, he had just met with God, why would that scare people? To me, if I'm sitting there and you told me you just went and met with God, irrespective of the Bible verse, it says no man can see God and live, but we're not going to get into that. But you told me you just see God, I would kind of expect your face to be shining. I don't know about you on Twitter or YouTube, or Twitter or Facebook. I don't know about you on YouTube, but I would rather think that your face would be shining if you just met with God. So it makes no sense to me at all why they would be afraid, because his face was shining. Seems very normal. Seems very natural. Seems to be, to me, the least thing that you could expect from a guy that just spent like 40 days and 40 nights with God. I mean, if somebody spent 40 days and 40 nights with God, you would expect that maybe they would float down from the mountain. You would expect maybe that they would fly down from the mountain. You would expect maybe that they would have, you know, like that X-Files guy, they have to wear glasses because they got rays shooting out of their eyes. Yeah, his face shone. Never made sense to me. Why would they be afraid of a guy that just talked with God because his face was shiny? I don't get it. So let's go into the original Hebrew and see what it has to say. Exodus 34:29. So we're going to go up here to interlinear. I actually had some rocket scientists tell me it doesn't matter what the original Hebrew says. The King James Version, bless God, says. And I'm like, really? You don't care what the original language says? You want to know what King James and his merry men said instead? Come on, man. But anyway, so when Moses came down from the mountain, he had the 2 tables of testimony, right? And Moses didn't realize that the skin of his face shone. What does that mean? The skin, okay, his skin, or his hide, or his leather, his leathery, and that kind of gives you some implications. His face was leathery. His face was thickly skinned. That sounds a little scary. That his face, his actual face, come on, work with me. Thank you. Look at this now. Come on, man. Moses's actual face, his face was very leathery. His face was very thick. His face was kind of busted, as they might say. Somebody might say that Moses was toe up from the flow up, even though there really was no flow. But anyway, Moses had some issues going on with his skin. Now, this says that it's shone. Pardon me. This says that it's shone. What does it mean to shone? Verse 71:60. It says it's shone. Send out rays is one definition. Check this out. To grow fully developed horns. To grow fully developed horns. And if you look at the proper undiluted, uncommentaried, I know it's bad English, good point, version, it says what it really means is to have horns and to shine. To push or to gore, to shoot out horns. Figuratively, rays. But what it really means is to have horns. So Michelangelo put horns on Moses because the original Hebrew text says that Moses came down from the mountain and the brother's skin had gotten all thick and he had some damn horns. He had him some horns. Moses, when he came down from the mountain, this is what he looked like. His skin was jacked up. He looked like a Klingon. But he had horns. He looked like a Klingon and he had some horns. This is what Michelangelo sculpted, and he sculpted it based on the regular original text language. His face was leathery, check, and he grew horns, check. Michelangelo has much more integrity than whoever it was that translated the book of Exodus. He had horns growing out of his face. He had horns growing out of his face. Here's the other instances of this showing up in the Bible. His face grew horns. His face grew horns while they talked. His damn horns were still growing, ladies and gentlemen. His horns were still growing when he came down off of that mountain. His horns were still growing when he came down off of that mountain. His horns were still growing. He that has horns and hoofs. Wait a second. Psalm 69 talks about having horns and hoofs. Psalm 69 talks about having young horns. Folks, this word doesn't mean to shine. As we show the context that it was used in the scriptures, it means to have some damn horns. Michelangelo was right on by depicting Moses with leathery skin and horns, because that's what the scripture said that he had. Now, let me ask you something. Doesn't it make a whole lot more sense why, as Moses came down from the mountain, they're looking at him, right? They're checking him out. And here comes Moses. And when he came down from that mountain, Moses didn't realize it, but he had grown horns. And while he was talking to them, the horns were still growing. And when Aaron and all the rest of the children of Israel saw Moses, he was growing horns, and they were afraid to come near him. And they said, "Brother, can you cover those things up? Because you're scaring everybody." Now, what makes more sense to you? Dude comes down from talking to God, face is shiny. People are afraid. "Oh, stop, please. Cover it up." Cover his whole face. Or dude comes down from the mountain, growing horns as he talks. Dude, you're growing horns. You're freaking me out right now. Can you cover those things up? Which one makes more sense to you? Not to mention the fact that the original scripture says Moses grew leathery skin and horns. Michelangelo, Jerome, the Latin Vulgate, they didn't have any problem understanding it. Moses had horns. The scriptures teach Moses had some horns. What are the implications of Moses having horns? Well, let's take a look at something here. I want to share something with you. What's the implications of Moses having horns? What were these jokers doing when Moses was up on that mountain? They were creating one of these things and were worshiping to it. They were sacrificing to it. They were probably having big orgies. So this is a little one, kind of a baby one. And look at this. This is the god, I believe his name is Apis. We're going to go back, the bull god of Egypt. Where was Moses from? I'll wait. Where was Moses from? He was from Egypt. And Moses was growing horns. Don't you think he probably looked a lot like this guy? Leathery skin, growing horns. Leathery skin, growing horns. Now, can you understand why people might be afraid of this dude coming down off the mountain? Can you understand why people might be afraid of this dude coming down off the mountain? He had leathery skin. He was growing horns, yo. It was scary. Look, Egypt. Bull god of Egypt, Apis. Let's talk about him a little bit. In Egyptian mythology, Apis or Hapis is a sacred bull worshipped, the son of Hathor, a primary deity in the pantheon of ancient Egypt. Oh, check this out. He had a significant role in worship. He was sacrificed and he was reborn. Wait a second. You're telling me that this Apis was sacrificed and then rose from the dead? Oh, wait a minute. Apis was an intermediary between humans and the deities? Like Paul said, Jesus was the mediator between God and man? Wow. So this gets me to wondering, ladies and gentlemen, just who was Moses meeting with up on that mountaintop? Just who was Moses? Moses went up on top of that mountain and he spent 40 days and 40 nights with a god, and he came down with horns. Was Moses meeting Apis on the mountain? Was Moses himself Apis? He had horns. He saw God face to face, as no one was supposedly able to do and live. Moses went up on the mountain. He saw God. Or was he God? And he came down and he forgot to shut it off and came down in his real form with his horns in full view. Moses came down with his horns in full view. Moses came down looking like this. And guess what? Folks were freaked out. Folks were scared. This is what Moses came down looking like. How good was Michelangelo? How good was Michelangelo? How good was Michelangelo? Check that out, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pretty good likeness, isn't it? Because his horns are just growing now. They probably got to this point. Tell me, Michelangelo didn't know what was going on. I always knew there was something wrong with Moses. I always knew there was something not right with Moses. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. I always knew that there was something wrong with Moses. Was Moses Apis? Or was he just the servant of Apis? That's what I call interesting. Why did Moses have horns? Why did Michelangelo paint Moses, sculpt Moses as having horns? Well, because he had some damn horns. Because he had some damn horns. Why did he have them? I think he was worshiping the god of horns, or maybe Moses himself was the god of horns. Because think how Moses died. Nobody could find the body. Interesting stuff. Let me go ahead and ask. You listen to me. Let me listen to you. Mel Brooks, not Monty Python. Okay, it was Mel Brooks. My bad. Does shining just mean white or sweaty? Shining means growing horns. Thank you, A Comfort. I love that you love my show. Have you ever seen someone's face after prolonged use of tanning beds? Thick, leathery skin is the result. Okay. Was he horny? Ha, ha, ha. How long was he gone? 40 days, 40 nights. Some say 80 days. Evil, horned dude was Moses. Moses could have been one of those half and half beings. That's interesting. That's interesting. So he came back trans species, or was Moses a shapeshifter? Was Moses a demigod? Was Moses Apis himself, but he would shapeshift into human form? Maybe that's how Moses did all those miracles in Egypt. It wasn't Yahweh doing the miracles. It was Moses doing the miracles. Maybe Moses could do the miracles because he was Apis. Wow. That is some interesting stuff. Maybe he was put in the basket and sent down the Nile because they were trying to kill that freak. Isn't that how Satan is depicted? Oh, Jesse Sebastian. Why, yes, he is. What if there is no Yahweh? What if Moses was the god of Apis who escaped from Egypt with an army, and he created this Yahweh to deflect everybody's intention? What if Moses is Apis? What if Moses is Hellboy? What if Moses is the horned god himself? Get those horns out of my face. If my throat wasn't still sore, I would say that. Get that horn out of my face. Wow. Just like Baphomet. Even Rooney says wow. I don't know if you heard that wow from Rooney, but he said it. Yep. Wow, Rooney. I agree with you. The bull god. I know, Rooney. It's crazy, isn't it? Yeah. See, even Rooney can't believe it. Straight out of Egypt. Wow. And here's Hoopy Bird. It was due to some translation mistake, and the word radiance from Hebrew was wrongly translated to English as horns in the Bible. Oh, really? Oh, really? Oh, really? Oh, really? How about a little Hebrew lesson for the birdie? and the skin of his face shone. Verse number 29, interlinear. Look at this, Birdie. Birdie brain. What does this say, Birdie brain? Shone. Shone. This isn't English. This is Hebrew. What does it mean, bird brain? It means to have some horns. What does it mean in the other four occurrences in the Bible? To have some horns. Get that con out of my face. Mistranslation from the English to the Hebrew. No, you just trying to make up some damn excuses so you don't have to face the fact that OMG, everything I believe is a lie. I don't blame you, Birdie. I was upset too when I started finding this stuff out. It's all right. You'll get better, Hopeful Bird. But Moses is good. Oh, is he? Is Moses good? You always thought the Lord was good till you started listening to me too, didn't you? Moloch? Looks can be deceiving. That's some scary stuff. I disagree with you, A Comfort. I know what you're saying, but you know what's really scary? What's really scary is believing that Moses is a good guy, great guy. What's really scary is believing that the Lord's a good guy, great guy, when he's a baby killer. What's really scary is worshiping, loving, being in a relationship. Can you imagine being in a relationship? Can you imagine how Ted Bundy's girlfriend felt when she found out what Ted Bundy was doing? And Yahweh and Moses both make Ted Bundy look like a Boy Scout. Well, Ted Bundy was a Boy Scout, but you know what I mean. Wow. Was it a shaman trick? Or maybe he was just had some horns. The Mormon baptismal tub is held by 12 bull statues. I didn't know that, Jennifer P. Thank you very much. Perhaps it was some other being and they just thought it was Moses. Or perhaps Moses had some damn horns. It makes no sense a person would grow horns real fast over time, and his skin turning, that can happen over time. What's the purpose of the horns? He came down off the mountain after 40 days with Apis, or he was Apis. His shape shifted and got out of sorts. I don't explain it. I just tell you what happened. Dude had horns, and he grew them over 40 days, and they were growing before their eyes. Didn't you read it? As he talked, his horns were growing. It was like Pinocchio, only horns and not cute. Wow. So why did he get upset about worshiping the golden calf? Because that golden calf wasn't Apis. That was a different god. What god was the golden calf? What god was the golden calf? The golden calf was Baal. That was a problem. Moses is like, why are you worshiping Baal? I'm Apis. You could say Moses went ape. They were worshiping the wrong bull, yo. Wow. Wow. No. Get your own channel, Joan Newman. You can't come in here and say, no to me on my own channel. Remove. Oh, yeah, I feel like Apis myself. I can just remove people's statements. Dude could chisel. Michelangelo could chisel. The golden calf was a Canaanite god Moloch. I thought it says it was Baal. I think it was Baal. Avery says, do you ever take a break? Not usually. No. Not usually. I try not to take a break. I sleep 4 hours a day, whether I need it or not. And the reason I keep looking around is I've got this thing on my on my screen so I can be on YouTube and Twitter. And don't be distracting or that happens. I try not to take a break, Avery. Got a lot of important business to do. Moses was a trained high priest of the Egyptian temple. He stole information, made up his own god. Or was he Apis, yo? That interview with Avery was amazing. You should check it out. Baal was a caricature of Isis. I don't know if that's true or not. Ape is maybe the being that messed with apes to make man. Interesting. Hello to you from Arizona, Robin. Anaya, it has been a minute. Warring bulls. Why not? Oh, don't do that. Thought you promoted free speech. Laugh out loud. I do, but it's my channel. It's a benevolent dictatorship. When you mess with the bull, you get the horn. Very well said. Very well said. Some believe the God of Israel was associated with or pictured as a calf bull deity through the process of religious assimilation, assimilation and syncretism. That's correct. I don't know why I'm having trouble speaking. So I'm wondering, Tanakh group, was Moses Apis the bull god himself, and he created Yahweh? That's so very interesting. Moses was a shapeshifter. Yes, absolutely. I know it's your channel. This is amazing and interesting. It is rather amazing and interesting, isn't it? In Kundalini Yoga, they say you only need 4 to 5 hours of sleep. Everything else is subconscious dumping and makes you tired. I agree. That's why I get 4 to 5 hours of sleep. Jeff, you do you. It's your channel, and you have every right to choose the conversation. Thank you. You're 100% correct. You've opened my eyes. Love, love, love your show. Why can't I get 4 loves? Why only love, love, love? Why not love, 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 love the show? Baal, bull, horns, Moses, bull, Wall Street, bull. Ooh. Wow, it's all adding up, isn't it? The dots are connecting. I can't remember who it was that asked me, why were they shown? Dean, that's what I'm thinking. I have to do some more of this. Is Yahweh and Moses one and the same being? Is Yahweh and Moses one and the same being? Thanks, Robin. I agree, man. I agree. I don't care who you are. That's some interesting stuff. Moses came down from the mountain with horns. The horns were still growing. Was he meeting with Apis? Was he a little Apis? Was he Apis himself? Was Moses the god Apis? Did Moses make up Yahweh? Is Yahweh himself fake? And that's why he never did anything himself. He always has people do his wet work. Yahweh is the Charlie Manson of gods. Maybe there's a reason, because maybe he's not real. Interesting. Who made Moses his coffee? This is terrible. He brewed it. Bada boom. Where is Apis now? They're both bastard children. How about that? That's right, HDTV. Apis, Yaldabaoth, both bastard children. This is some interesting stuff. Where else are you going to get stuff like this? At 9:25 Pacific time, 12:25 a.m. Eastern time. There's something going on, as Dean Winchester says. Something there is connected. I agree. Why did Michelangelo portray Moses as having horns? Because Moses had horns, according to the original Hebrew scriptures. And it seems to explain a lot if we'll allow ourselves to follow the breadcrumbs and connect the dots without prejudice. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. Pan had horns too. I'm here to help you guide your own spirit, master your own ascension, be your own guru. I'm here to help you ask questions and question answers. Most of all, I'm here to help you stay fearless and unindoctrinate yourself. I salute you for being here seeking after truth. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower, and this is the Gospel Truth Army, signing off.